Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Jeffrey. I just finished a through hike of the Pacific Crest Trail, and I put the word out on my Instagram asking what are your burning questions about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, and I got a bunch of really good ones. So, welcome to the first part of my PCT Q&A. Let's go. Okay, so I put an Instagram story out asking everyone to share their burning questions about hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, and I got some pretty good ones. So I got enough good ones that this is going to be multiple parts. So welcome to part one, and I say let's just dive in. For a little bit of backstory, it's 2024. That is when I completed my PCT Thru-Hike. It is currently October, just finished 3 weeks ago, something like that. So hopefully all of this is very fresh in my mind. Okay, question number one, unsurprisingly, is about pooping. Question one. Tell me about pooping in the woods. Do you squat like a normal person or sit on a log like a weirdo? Well, I think the answer is probably definitely, well, depends on who you are. For me, both. Ideally, I love having a log. I love having the perfect size log at the perfect height where you can just sit on it, hang your cute little butt off the back and poop, and it's almost like a toilet. It's almost like nature's toilet. But that is easier said than done. It's often hard to find one of them. I count myself as a pro at finding them. I found them quite often, but there are places like the desert where it's just not an option. Like downed trees just don't exist. So your only option is to just squat. I think there's lots of tactics. I am working on a multi-part series on how to poop in the woods. So we'll dive into it in more detail. But I would say in general, like in the desert, for instance, there aren't down trees. So, the goal is always, first and foremost, to not have somebody walk up on you while you're mid-push. That's goal number one. And everyone gets it. Nobody's going to be weird about it. Everyone's going to be cool. Like if you see somebody taking a shit, like nobody's going to be weird. It's fine. We're all doing the same thing. We've all been there. It could happen to any of us. So it's not the end of the world. I know that sounds weird to say to people who live in normal society, but it isn't. It's not the end of the world. But it's not ideal, is it? So there are a few things. First and foremost, I would make sure you know where the trail is going. Is the trail curving around? Does it keep going straight? Because you need to know where people are walking. As long as you're not near the trail, there's such a small chance that anyone would ever come upon you. So first and foremost, I would look at the trail. Open up your map, get your map out, whatever you're using, look to see where the trail goes, and make sure that you might be leaving the trail from where you are, but it's possible that trail curves right around and goes right back near where you're trying to poop. So check the trail. Make sure you know where the trail is going. And yeah, if you're in the desert, there's no other option. You're just going to have to squat. For some people, that's really uncomfortable. For some people, that's super comfortable. But especially for bigger, thicker people like me, it's not super comfortable to be squatting. So it's not my first choice. I would rather have a log or something like that if I can. So the short answer is both, but more on its way.
Hello! Hey, if you are sitting there thinking, oh, I want to travel more, I want to go on more adventures, come with me. I host trips around the world. We've been hiking in Patagonia, we went looking for the Northern Lights in Iceland, trekking in Nepal, camping in Banff, Canada, in the Canadian Rockies. We do it all, and we have a real good time. Everyone's welcome, and all the details for any current trips, just click that little bubble up up in the top corner, or go to my website, jjb.life/travel. And we almost always make at least one group cringy TikTok. So come hang out with us. We're a real good time.
Okay, the next question is, what was the hardest part of the prep for hiking the PCT? That's a good question. Looking back now, being on this side of things, I think my advice to myself and to anyone else would have been to stop trying to overplan. It's impossible. There are too many variables and you have no idea what's going to happen. This would be, a through hike like this would be ideal for a control freak, for someone who needs to have everything planned, who needs to know where they're going to be at every moment, how everything's going to work. I say it would be good for them. I mean, it would be miserable because you cannot. But I think it would be a good exercise in learning to kind of let go, because that would be my advice to myself in the planning process. I'm not that person, but even still, I felt a sense of I was like, oh, I haven't watched enough YouTube videos. I don't know every single stop that I might want to send a box to. I don't know. I felt super, super unprepared because there's so much content out there. There's so many YouTube videos like this of people giving you advice. And my advice to myself would have been chill the frick out. Plan-ish as much as you can. But know that you can't plan everything and that everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to work out. There are people, there's food, there's water for the most part. Be smart, but just know that you cannot control everything. You cannot prepare for everything. There's no way. I am the most freewheeling, go with the flow type of person. And even still, there were times when I was really pushed to my limits where I was like, I'm gonna go with the flow, dude. But how the F are we getting to this town tomorrow? Where are we sleeping? Where are we going to find food? Where are we getting water? And it always works out. It always works out. So, long answer, but my advice to myself pre-trail would have been to be as prepared as possible, plan as much as is reasonable, but know that you can't plan everything and that you just have to give in and just know that things are going to work out. Because they do. They always do. Okay, the next question says, most challenging: desert, rivers, elevation changes, mosquitoes. It's a great question because coming from an ultra running background, it's not what I would have expected. I would have expected more physical challenges, which, don't get me wrong, there were lots of physical challenges. There were a lot of really physically difficult days, just the constant day after day. So I don't want to say that it was physically easy. But if I needed to name my most biggest challenges, I think so my biggest challenge physically, I think, would have been the long days. So once I was, a third, halfway into the trail, we're starting to do longer days, starting to do 20, 25, 30 mile days. And physically, that was the biggest challenge. Not climbing up peaks, but just the pounding and the longevity of hiking for 12 hours. Physically, that was the biggest challenge, just day after day, and your feet your feet ache, your whole body aches, just that constant pounding. And it's not a huge effort. I mean, you're just walking. You can walk whatever speed you want to walk. So, it's not like a hard, aggressive run, sprint situation, but it's still hard in a really slow, long, chill way, if that makes sense. So physically, I think just the long days were the biggest challenge. Mentally, I think the desert. Mentally, the hardest spots were the beginning and the end. The beginning, the desert, the dehydration, even when it's not dangerous, it's just so uncomfortable. Like the number of hours I spent dreaming of like iced beverages and like the mint limeade I could make when I get home, and like literally fantasizing about cold beverages. That was hard mentally. Even if we weren't at risk of dehydration, the desert was just hard mentally. Like being without water, my brain, all it can think about is water. But I think unquestionably the biggest challenge was the mental challenge the last 1-2 months, especially the last week. It was really hard. It was really hard to want to be there because I didn't. It was a new challenge for me, doing ultra marathons. Like things get hard, but it's like, oh, I can go 8 more hours and make this happen and achieve this crazy 100-mile ultra marathon goal. But this is so different in terms of its longevity. It lasts forever, and it is so hard to keep motivation alive for that amount of time. And at the end, you're bored. First and foremost, you're freaking bored. I have never been more bored in my life, which sounds hilarious because I know in 2 months from now, I'm going to be like, oh, I wish I was hiking through Washington. But hiking through Washington, I was looking at these huge, gorgeous mountain vistas, and I just didn't care. It was too much of a good thing. I had been looking at it for 5 months, and I didn't care. I just wanted to be dry and warm, and I wanted a bed, and I wanted to see my spouse and my dogs. I didn't care. And so I think unquestionably my biggest challenge was the mental challenge of the last couple months. It was really hard for me because I didn't want to be there. I was over it. Am I glad I finished? Yeah, I am. But it was hard. It was hard mentally at the end. Really hard. Okay. Next, Malibu Mountains. It's just a statement. I don't know if it's a question. I don't know what that means. We didn't go through the Malibu Mountains. The Malibu Mountains I lived in Southern California, so I know them well, especially Malibu Creek State Park is where, when I was training for my first ultramarathon, that's where I did most of my training. So I know those mountains very well. We didn't go through them. The PCT doesn't go through them. It goes up through the Angeles National Forest, but then it heads north. So we just don't go as far as the Malibu Mountains. But if you're ever out there, highly recommend them. They're relatively chill compared to the Rockies. They're very small compared to the Rockies. You get gorgeous views of the Pacific Ocean, and you're near Malibu. And if you have an RV or a camper or a trailer or anything like that, there's a really cool RV park in Malibu that overlooks the ocean. Highly recommended. Don't remember the name of it, but a quick Google will find it. Okay, how do you figure out resupply and water? Well, that is a question for multiple other videos. Let's take it one by one. How do you figure out water? So for water, there is an app called the Far Out app. It used to be called Gut Hooks, but it is now called Far Out. Its logo looks like this. This app is... I would not hike. I would not do a thru-hike without this app. Is it perfect? No. But it is pretty bonkers. It's bonkers in that it has every point of interest, whether it be a water stop, a trail junction, everything, literally everything is on here, along with social comments. So you'll see like, oh, there's a stream 2.3 miles ahead, and then you can look at comments to see if there's still water there. You know, most of the West Coast, this mountainous area, there are places that might have water at one point in the year that do not have water a week later. So these comments are really helpful because you can see, there's water 2.3 miles away. And I see that somebody yesterday commented that it was flowing well. So that's how you find water, the app. Mostly natural water sources, but especially in the desert, you rely on water caches, trail angels out of the goodness of their heart, leave huge caches of water. Well, I say huge, not always. Sometimes it's just a couple bottles that somebody was like, it's a hot day and there's probably gonna be hikers up there. Let me run a few gallons up to this point. Other times there are places where they have like brought a truck up and like put pallets of water in the desert for you. So it's a huge luxury. It's one of the nicest things about doing a through hike like this in this day and age when so many people are doing it, because there's so much more support in that regard that I cannot imagine was there 40 years ago when people were doing this. So anyway, that's how you find water. And water is a huge, I would say pooping, number one, is the top topic of conversation on the trail, and 2 is probably water. Where is the next water? The other reason is that you don't want to carry water any further than you have to because it's so freaking heavy. So you need to make sure you have water, obviously, but you don't want to carry any more than you have to. So it's this constant balancing act of like, how much water is enough so that I am safe and okay, versus how much water is too much and I'm carrying water that I don't need to carry. So that's water. Resupply, same thing, the Far Out app, but it's a combination of shipping boxes to yourself in advance. Well, it may be. Some people do one extreme or the other. You could ship every single box to yourself, every single thing you intend to need on the trail, you could ship it to yourself. There's lots of reasons not to do that, and it's very complicated. So I don't advise that at all. On the other hand, there's not shipping any boxes and just flying by the seat of your pants and doing resupplies in towns as you pass them, hiker boxes, food that people have left back. Those are both options, and most people do a combination of the two. I would lean heavy away from boxes. We'll get into that. I'll make a whole video about boxes, but logistically they can be very complicated. So there's lots of reasons why you would need to send your boxes or want to send yourself boxes, but I highly suggest not relying on that 100%. It's a bad idea, I think. So anyway, resupply. At the end of the day, we're getting all of the info again from the Far Out app, but you've done a little research in advance. I'm vegetarian, so that was one reason why I shipped myself some things, because I needed some specialty food items that I knew I couldn't get just at an average grocery store. But it's a combination of both. But at the end of the day, the Far Out app is where all the info is coming from. Okay, so that's part 1 of my PCT Q&A. If you have more questions, put them in the comments. In the meantime, like, subscribe, do all the things. And we have so many more questions, so there will be multiple more parts. So check back for the next one. I'll see y'all next time. Want to watch another video? Click here. Want to learn more about my upcoming trips? Click here. Want to subscribe and like all my videos and turn those bell notifications?